and welcome to another episode of HISD at Home. My name is Miss McCullough and I will be your 4th grade math instructor for today's video. Hi 4th graders! I just wanted to say I'm super proud of you guys and all your work so far. We are almost done with this series, guys. This is the second to last video. In today's video, we will be discussing some division problem solving. You guys might already be familiar with this since I presented divisions in a few videos back. But today we're going to go a little bit more in depth with division, and I'm going to show you a few strategies that you can incorporate when it comes to word problems for division. For my videos, guys, as always, you will need a few things to get set up and get ready to study and get into the math with me today. The first thing you will need is a pencil or a writing utensil. I also would like if you had a highlighter. If you don't have a highlighter, no worries, your pencil will do just fine. The second thing you will need is your math notebook or a sheet of paper. Any sort of thing will do. Anything that you can write on and go ahead and solve problems with us is perfectly okay. And the last and probably most important thing that you guys will need is to find a place where you are comfortable, focused, and ready to get into the math. I'm going to go ahead and give everyone around a minute to gather their items, and then we'll get started. All right, guys, if you're all ready to go, you have all of your materials, you're ready to learn, go ahead and give me one single clap like this. Awesome work. I see a lot of you guys clapping out there. You're ready to go ahead and learn today. So what I'm going to go ahead and do next is I'm going to read the objective with you guys. Remember that the objective just states the knowledge and skills that we are acquiring in today's video. Acquiring just means these are the things that we are learning, processing, and going to take forward with us into our studies. After we read the objective, we are then going to go ahead and get right into the math, where I'm going to do some table work. First, I'm going to show you guys some vocabulary as a refresher, and then we're going to go ahead and solve some problems together. All right, 4th graders, let's start with our objective. All right, 4th graders, so let's go ahead and read our objective for today. The objective says, today we will use the standard algorithm to divide up to a 4-digit dividend by a 1-digit divisor. Remember, guys, that the dividend is the bigger number or the total, and the divisor is what we actually are dividing by. All right, 4th graders, let's get into our vocabulary right now. This is our division vocab. Remember, guys, vocab is important, not just so that we know, but also so that we are able to understand the problem a little bit better when we know the terms and what they mean. They also help us, guys, as a strategy with our word problems. For example, if the word problem is asking us to find the quotient, the divisor, the dividend, or even the remainder, we know that we have to divide. So let me go ahead and review these super quickly with you guys, and then we're going to solve some problems. So the first word that I see here is quotient. Remember, guys, the quotient is the answer. So just like with addition and subtraction, we have sum. When it comes to multiplication, we have product. And when it comes to division, we have the quotient. This is the number that is the result of dividing, or our answer. The next word that I see here is divisor. This is the number that you are dividing by. Remember that the divisor, guys, is always the second number in the equation. So our divisor in this specific equation here is 7. The divisor. The next word that I see here is remainder. When we have a remainder, guys, the remainder is just the amount that remains, right? So that's pretty easy to understand. Remember that when we are dividing, we need to have every single item needs to go in a group, and every single group has to have the equal amount of items. So it has to be the same, it has to be equal, it has to be just. So if we cannot separate these items into equal groups, then those are called the remainders. So for example, in this problem here, everything seems to be even, every single thing seems to have a group, and all the groups are equal, but we have 3 remaining. We cannot separate these 3 blocks into these 6 groups. So 3 would be our remainder. And the last vocab word that I see here, guys, this is dividend. Remember that the dividend is the number that you are dividing. So the dividend is the number that you are dividing. It's always usually the first number in the equation itself. So here in this equation, 42 would be the dividend and 7 would be our divisor. All right, 4th grade, now that we went ahead and reviewed our vocab, let's get into a word problem. This word problem here, obviously it's about division, but we're going to solve it using the standard algorithm and our get table strategy. So we're always going to read the word problem 2 times. Remember, the first time we read it as if we're reading a story or for fun. And the second time we're going to read it to really pay attention to the values and the key words that are found in the word problem. So 4th graders, please read along with me. There are 3,164 seats at a football stadium. The stadium has 7 sections, and each section has the same number of seats. How many seats are there in each section? Okay, 4th grade, so we know, based off reading the problem the first time, that the question has to deal with some seats in a football stadium. And we see a couple of words thrown in there, like the word section and the word each. But now let's read it one more time to really focus in on the information. There are 3,164 seats at a football stadium. The stadium has 7 sections, and each section has the same number of seats. How many seats are there in each section? All right, guys, so what I'm going to go ahead and do next is pull out my highlighter. If you don't have a highlighter, remember 4th grade, you can use a pencil or any sort of writing utensil and do whatever you need to do to make the information pop to you. So if that means that you have to underline something, circle it, or box it in, that's totally fine. I'm going to highlight the question. That's always the first thing that I like to do. And so the question here says, how many seats are there in each section? So I'm then going to go ahead and go through the problem and skim through and highlight the values or important keywords that I see. So this value here says 3,164. Seats at a football stadium. The next thing says that there are 7 sections, and it says that each section, and I like the word each, has the same number of seats, and I like that word same and that word number. So that tells me that I have to fill in my get chart, right? There's a lot of words in that word problem that are found in our get chart. So let's go ahead now, 4th graders, and fill in our get. All of today's videos have to do with division, right? But it's super important to get into the habit of filling out our get chart because, guys, when we have a test question and we don't know if we have to multiply or divide, we can just go to our get chart and fill it in that way. So the G for get stands for, yes, smart 4th graders, the G stands for groups. And we're trying to find the groups, or we don't know what the groups are, we know that we're going to have to divide. What does the E stand for? You guys are on a roll. Yes, the E stands for each. And when we need to find how many are in each group, we know that we have to divide. And what does the T stand for? Yes, the T stands for total. And when we need to know the total number or the total amount of something, we know that we have to multiply. So now that we filled in our get chart using the vocabulary words and the operation, let's go ahead and add our values into this chart. I always like to start with total because it's either there or it's not. And that makes it really easy for us to know which type of operation we're going to have to use. So do we know how many things there are in total in this question? Yes, we know that there's 3,164 seats in total. So I'm going to write this word in total. Now that we have the total figured out, guys, we know that we're going to need to divide. So let's go through E and G. Do we know how many are in each? No, we don't. In fact, the question asks us, it says how many seats are there in each section. So whenever we see one of these key words, whether groups, each, or total in the actual question itself, we know that that's what we have to do, right? So in each, we definitely don't know, but do we know how many groups there are? Yeah, we know that there's 7 groups or 7 sections. So just as we are missing our each, we know that we have to divide. So I'm going to go ahead and write out our division equation here, which is 3,164 divided by 7 equals question mark, because we don't exactly know yet. This is our dividend. Remember that 7 is our divisor. And remember that this would be our quotient. So I said, guys, earlier in the objective that we are going to use the standard algorithm. And that's how we're going to divide all day today, using the standard algorithm. So the way that we do standard algorithm, 4th graders, is we always want to draw a little house like this. I always tell my class, draw a little house. And inside of the house always goes the dividend. So the dividend, which is always the bigger number, is going to be 3,164. And on the outside goes the divisor. And the divisor is the smaller number. And then, guys, what we're going to go ahead and do is take out our finger, and we're going to cover every single number except for the first one. So we're going to take the divisor, and we're going to see how many times the divisor can go into the dividend. So we have 7. Can 7 go into 3? No, they cannot, right? So what you do is you move your finger over one value and then make it into a 31. So can 7 go into 31? Yes, it can. And let's think about our multiplication facts. Is there a number that we can multiply by 7 that we can get 31 or something closer to 31? Let's think about it. Yes, 4. Excellent job, 4th grade. And what is 7 times 4? Yeah, 7 times 4 is 28. So I'm going to subtract 28 from 31. Now I know it seems super weird, but let's keep an imaginary finger covering the 64 and let's act as if it's not here right now. So what is 1 minus 8? Yeah, we can't do that. We have to regroup. So this 3 is going to turn into a 2 and this 1 is going to turn into an 11. So now 11 minus 8. Excellent work, guys. It's 3. And 2 minus 2. Yep, that's 0. So now we have a 3. So we're going to drop down the next number, and this is 6. So now we have 36. Do you guys see how we use the 3? 7 couldn't go into 3, so we combined it with a 1 to make 31. 7 can go into 31 4 times because 7 times 4 is 28. We subtracted 28 and got 3. Once we got 3, we know obviously 7 can't go into 3, so we drop down the next number in the equation, and that's 6. So now we have 36. Can 7 go into 36? Why, yes, it can, because if it can go into 31, it can definitely go into 36. Do we know how many times 7 can go into 36? Yes, we do. Okay, so is there a number that we can multiply by 7 to get 36, or a number close to 36? Yes, there is. Very good. 5. What is 7 times 5? Yeah, 7 times 5 is 35. So we're going to go ahead and subtract 35. And we know that 6 minus 5 is 1 and 3 minus 3 is 0. So we're left with 1. And the last number that we need to drop is the 4. So we're going to go ahead and drop 4. And how many times can 7 go into 14? Wow, you guys are so smart. Yes, 2 times, because 7 times 2 is 14. So 14 minus 14 we know is 0. Do we have a remainder in this problem? No, we don't, but we have a quotient. And what is our quotient? Very good. 452 is our quotient. So we know that there are 452 seats in each section of the football stadium. Awesome, awesome job, 4th graders. I'm super impressed. So now, guys, that we did this one, we're going to go ahead and get into one more. Remember, we're going to follow the same format. I'm going to give you guys around 3 minutes to solve this one on your own. Please, please, please follow the same format that I used in this question. Look at your notes. Remember that you have to do your get chart. You have to write out your equation, and then we're going to use the standard algorithm to solve. I'm going to lead you guys in a little bit, and then I'm going to let you go on your own for a couple of minutes to solve this problem. After that, I'm going to go ahead and review it, and you guys are going to compare with mine and see if you got it right, or if there's something that you kind of got stuck on that you need to work on. All right, so let's read the question 2 times. I'm going to highlight the important information with you guys, and then you're going to solve. The Myers family drove 3,598 miles on a road trip. The road trip lasted 3 days, and the family drove the same amount of miles each day. How many miles did they drive each day? So we know that the problem is about a family who took a road trip and they drove, right? Well, let's go ahead and read one more time so that we can pay attention to the values and keywords in the problem. The Myers family drove 3,598 miles on a road trip. The road trip lasted 3 days, and the family drove the same amount of miles each day. How many miles did they drive each day? So take out your highlighter or your writing utensil. Let's go ahead and make the question pop. And by that, I mean go ahead and underline it, circle it, box it, or highlight it. I'm going to highlight the question. It says, how many miles did they drive each day? Next, I'm going to go through and look for the important values. So we know that there's 3,598 miles that they drove on this road trip. We know that the road trip lasted for 3 days. And we know that they drove the same amount of miles each day. So now that we know this information, 4th grade, I'm going to give everyone around 3 minutes to solve the problem on their own. After the couple of minutes, I'm going to then solve it myself, and you guys are going to compare with me. So everyone, you have around a couple of minutes to finish this problem. You can start now. All right, everyone. Hopefully you finished. I'm excited to see what you guys got. I'm excited for you guys to compare with me. I'm going to go ahead and walk you guys through my mental state as I go through the problem. So I'm going to do a think aloud. Remember, guys, a think aloud is just me telling you my thoughts as I solve this problem. All right, so now that I read my question twice and I highlighted my important information, I'm going to do my get chart. I'm going to do my get chart because I don't know if I have to divide or multiply. So I'm going to begin with G, E, and T. In my G, I know that G stands for groups. And I know that when I'm missing groups, I have to divide. In my E, I know that E stands for each, and I know that when I'm missing how many are in each, I know I have to divide. And my T stands for total, and when I'm missing my total or I don't know it, I have to multiply. So now that I figured out what I have to fill in my get chart, I'm then going to fill in this get chart with the important information in the question. I always like to start with my total first, and I know that the family drove 3,598 miles in total. And then it says that the road trip lasted 3 days and they drove the same amount of miles each day. The question also asks me how many miles did they drive each day. So since this word is in the question, I definitely don't know each, but I know that there's 3 groups or 3 days. So since I don't know each, I know that I have to divide. Let me go ahead and write out my equation right here, which is 3,598 divided by 3. I know that this number here is my dividend. So this is the number that's going to go in my house. This number here is my divisor. So this is the number that's going to go outside my little house. And we don't know this, and this is the quotient and the answer that we are trying to solve for. So with standard algorithm, I'm going to draw a little house here. And inside of this house, I'm going to put the dividend, which is 3,598. And on the outside of the house, I'm going to put the divisor, which is 3. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take out my finger and I'm going to cover every single value except for the 3, or the first one. 3 happens to be the first. And I know that 3 can go into 3 because I know that if I have 3 candies and 3 students, each student will receive the same amount of candy. So I'm going to go ahead and put a 1 here because I know that 3 can go into 3 1 times. So 3 minus 3 is 0. I'm going to go ahead and drop down the 5. And I know that 3 can go into 5 1 time as well. 5 minus 3 is 2. And I'm going to drop the 9. 3 can go into 29. Well, I know my 3 multiplications, and I know that 3 times 9 is 27. So I'm going to put a 9 here, and I'm going to subtract 27. 29 minus 27 is 2. And then I'm going to drop the 8. 3 can go into 28, again, 9 times, because 28 minus 27 is 1. Now 3 cannot go into 1. I've used all of my numbers inside of my house. 1 must be the remainder. And I'm going to write this word down here so that I know that I don't forget that 1 is the remainder. This is what remains from our problem. So my quotient is 1,199, remainder of 1. How did you guys do on this problem? Did you guys get it right? Do you feel like you need a little bit more practice? Go ahead and give me a thumbs up if you got it right. Wow, awesome job, 4th grade. I'm super proud of you. As you guys can see, we've come a really long way with our divisions. And I honestly think that standard algorithm is the best way to solve these types of problems so that you guys are easily able to identify what you need to do and how to solve. Guys, all we're doing is subtracting the multiple from the dividend. Remember that when we subtract, we're always starting from left to right. Also, guys, this is a very important strategy to use when it comes to division. I personally love this strategy, but you guys have to be very strong in your multiplication facts, okay? So make sure that you get those facts down. And if you're still struggling with your multiplication facts, guys, definitely take some time out of your day to practice those facts over and over again so that you can get super fluent in them and you won't have to rely on a multiplication chart to help you with these problems. Well, fourth graders, you did excellent on both division problems using the standard algorithm. I'm super proud of you and great work. All right, everyone, I'm gonna leave you with one quick math challenge. So since we've been really working hard on divisions lately, I wanted to leave you guys with this question here, and I want you to solve this problem using the standard algorithm. Remember the two problems we did in this video, and we also did a few problems in my last division video if you guys were tuning in. So please remember the strategy that I've showed you. Remember to use your get chart. Even though you know that this problem is division, it's always super important to get into the habit of using our get chart. So for this math challenge, guys, I'm going to read out the question to you, and then you guys are going to solve it on your own and see how you do. All right, let's read the question together. It says, Margarita collected 524 shells on the beach. She used all of her seashells to decorate 4 jewelry boxes to give to her friends. How many seashells did she use to decorate 1 box? All right, guys, so this is one division problem. Remember that the problem asks us a certain question. Remember to fill in your get chart and remember your standard algorithm. I hope you guys do really well on this challenge. If you guys have any sort of problems or if you need any help, refer back to your notes from today's video. That's why it's so important to take notes. All right, fourth grade. All right, everyone, that concludes our video on division. I hope that you guys learned a little bit more about the standard algorithm and how you can apply it in your own classes when it comes to division problems. Also, the get chart, it's really, really, really useful for those multiplication and division word problems when you really don't know which operation you have to use. Once again, guys, I'm so proud of you and all of your work. Keep going, keep studying, keep going strong, and I will see you next time in our final video where we will cover area and perimeter. Bye, fourth grade.